This video is for you if you believe just putting pretty pictures on a board is enough to manifest that beautiful life you want. Mm, It's not enough. So it was really important for me to do this series because I know that most people just start in their vision boarding process by just getting a beautiful plain board, going to a grocery store, getting some magazines, and cutting out a bunch of pictures that seem to resonate with you. But if you want to manifest an amazing life, accomplish amazing things this year, it's going to take more than just putting pretty pictures on a board. And so I wanted to walk you through the process that I use in order to manifest all the things that I want in my life. And this is specifically and especially for you if you're a person who wants to create a work less, live more lifestyle. So, hey, I'm Rashida. I'm a life coach for workaholic corporate professionals, entrepreneurs, and strong Black women, all who are tired of being burnt out and want to create a work less, live more lifestyle. This is a passion topic for me because I have firsthand seen that it is not that easy to create this soft life, this work less, live more lifestyle where I have the lifestyle freedom that I now have. And so in my videos, I talk about the practical ways that I was able to shift my life using vision, goals, and life systems to create the work less, live more lifestyle that I currently live. If that sounds good to you, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment so that you can continue this series with me right now. Go ahead. I'll give you a second to do that. Okay, cool. Also, there's not a lot of creators talking about their review for the 2023 goals. So I want to make a shout out to V. She created a video called Sharing All of My 2024 Goals, plus an honest review of my 2023. It was a really good video. So I just wanted to shout her out. I love that she did that. Kudos from me to her. Now that we've got that done, let's go ahead and jump into what we're doing today and review your 2023 goals. So there are a couple different ways that 2023 could have gone for you. It could have gone this way. It could have gone this way, or it could have gone this way. Regardless of which way it went, if you want 2024 to be a big old beautiful green check for you, then you and we both need to take some time and learn from what happened in this last year so that we can do better in this next year. Why is it even worth it to go ahead and spend this time? Well, for one, we always do better when we can see the progress that we've made. Going through this is going to actually make you stop and reflect and see just how many things you've actually accomplished. Because 9 times out of 10, you have accomplished way more than you ever thought you did. Then the second thing is it allows you to see yourself. In the midst of progress, you've also grown tremendously. Those incremental changes, you don't get to see the big transformation from one to the other. Because we've been a part of this journey the whole time, we don't always see how we've handled 10 times better than we ever would have handled in the past. So, taking the time to reflect on those things allows us to see just how much we've grown into being our most authentic self and living our best self. Looking at the progress that we've made on our 2023 goals allows us to create intentionality about where do we want to go next. It keeps us from doing the same things that we've done before over again. And if we have to do a previous step over again, now we've learned from the mistakes and we could do it differently next time. So it allows us to be intentional about continuing to move forward and deciding what exact direction that we want to take as we move forward. And then finally, connecting the dots. Sometimes as we look at our whole year, we might not always recognize that we didn't necessarily make some of the best decisions in order to help us move forward. But when we're deep in the weeds of everything, we might not always see how all of those things are connected. So, regardless of whether we made decisions that helped us get to where we wanted to go or decisions that helped us get to somewhere we didn't want to go, without taking the time to step back and reflect, you don't necessarily get to see the dots on which decisions were good and understand why they were good. Or you might not be able to see why that decision was bad and how to make a different decision going forward. This whole process of reflection allows us to make better decisions so that we can get to where we want our life to be with way less drama, with way less heartache, and way less bad. so that we can get to exactly to where we want to be a lot faster and a lot easier. So now that we've talked about why reviewing our 2023 goals is important, let's start to review them. All right, so here is my 2023 vision board. Now, like I said, I know a lot of you guys, when you do your vision board, it's all about putting a bunch of pictures on there so that you can see the life that you're building. And I truly believe in that, but I'm also an INTJ, and I love to have just as much description and tangibility in what I want my life to look like. So I spend a good bit of time putting words on my vision board, but I also like to put pictures as well. So when we get to that next video where we start creating our goals and actually creating our vision board, you'll be able to see how I use pictures in my vision board. But right now, reviewing my 2023 vision board and goals. Now, here's the thing. If you've done a vision board where you've only put pictures on the board, then you're also going to want to have a journal. Pull out your journal. I want you to look at the first picture on that vision board. And in your journal, I want you to describe what that picture is. I want you to describe why you related to that picture. And then I want you to make an assessment. Did you get as far as you wanted to get? How far did you get? What things can you celebrate from that? And then what things do you want to continue to try and work on accomplishing? Or is that something that you realized that you actually didn't want? It was kind of just fun to put on your board and it wasn't a top priority. All of those are reasonable answers for why you either didn't accomplish something or maybe you just accomplished it and you can check it off and celebrate that you actually accomplished that thing on your vision board. So we're taking the time to look at that for each picture separately and do that whole assessment that I just talked you through. If you are like me and you put some words on your vision board, that might make it a little easier. So this is why I like to do a combination of putting both pictures on my vision board, but also words on my vision board, because when I take it past the pictures on my vision board and write words, it makes it more tangible. And that's what actually allows me to break it down into systems. But I don't want to get too far ahead. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in a later video. So for now, I'm going to walk you through my own assessment of my 2023 goals just for the fun of it. And make sure you take some time to walk through each one of the things that are on your vision board as well. So I have 4 big goals that I wanted to accomplish last year, and I segmented them based on the different areas of my life, which I talked about when creating my life plan. So there's 8 different areas of life, and I have picked goals for 4. Now, generally, I would suggest that you limit your goals, especially if you're new to creating goals. I would say try to do no more than 1 or 2 goals a year, because you're going to realize you're probably picking a goal that's on a really high level and it's not down to the tangible, smart goal level yet. So it's easier if you have less because you're going to end up with a lot of work. If you pick 5 goals and they're not super tangible, you're setting yourself up to have a lot of work that you might not actually be able to accomplish in 1 year. It might be setting your goals up for failure, which if you start with just 1, you can get really good at that and then build it up and build up your self-efficacy, knowing that you're really good at accomplishing your goals. And then next year you could do 2 and do 3 and do 4 and go from there. So this is after years of doing annual goals and vision boards that now I do choose 4 different goals a year. But you have to remember the goal itself is just the beginning. It has to be backed up by a system. And again, we're going to talk about that in a future video. Getting ahead of myself. Let's just go ahead and jump into reviewing my goals. Okay, so this first section is about the personal part of my life. So I like to think about this area in terms of how do I have fun, rest, it's how I fill my cup. And so one of the goals that I have for this area of life, specifically as a digital nomad, was to create a home base and build a tiny house. That is something that I've actually been working on for a couple of years now. And I know you would say, well, that should seem pretty easy. You should just be able to just pick a place and do it. But for me, it was really hard to pick where in the world did I want to live? Why did I want to choose that place? What did I need that place to have in order for me to know that it was a place that I wanted to call home? So over 2023, I spent quite a bit of time deciding what was most important to me in a home base and deciding if this was the place that I wanted it to be. And so I have decided officially that Charlotte is going to be my home base. And the reason I decided was that I am in a place that is relatively warm because if it's up to me, I love to be in a place that's 90 degrees and a breeze all year round. But I also wanted to be in a place where I was relatively close to my family and friends and could easily get home. So I have family in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, really close friends and family in Atlanta, and one of my best friends lives here in Charlotte. So I decided to create my home base here in Charlotte. From that, now this year, I can start planning more about getting my tiny house, where I'm going to put it, doing all the things to figure that out. That's a whole process in itself. And so as I reflect on it, I wrote some notes here. Oops, I didn't mean to move that. I wrote some notes about how I learned a lot in the process of trying to decide where did I want my home base to be and why. And when I say I learned a lot about myself. What did I want from life? Rather than just throwing a dart at the board and deciding, oh, I think I just want to live there. Now, let me tell you, I have done that. That is why I have lived in 15 different places. You know, people ask, well, what? I actually had this guy that I was dating at one point. He asked me, are you running from the law? Is that why you have lived in so many places? Because I wasn't in the army or in the service, and he just thought it didn't make sense. That was actually the funniest that's the funniest question I've ever heard about me moving and living in a lot of different places. But for me, the whole reason why I had lived in different places because was why not? Why did I have to stay in one place? So I have lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. I studied abroad in Rome, Italy. I lived in Charlotte once before and I hated it. Then I moved to Columbus, Ohio. I've lived in three different cities in LA. I've lived in Atlanta. I've lived in New Hampshire. I've lived in Mijas, Spain. Gosh, where else? I have lived in a couple different places outside of Atlanta. So I've lived in all of these different towns and different places. And if I'm being honest, I was searching for a place that felt like home, but I really didn't decide on a place. Oh, I also lived in Denver. I really didn't decide on a place that felt like home until I decided what I wanted from a home base. So it's so important to be intentional about what you want in order for you to decide, does this place actually meet the criteria or not? Trying to feel your way through means that you might not ever actually get there. But the fun thing about that is on the road to deciding what you want, you get to be on this adventure that helps you understand and know yourself more. And that adventure led me to, like I said, living in Spain. I lived in Costa Rica for a year. I've lived in the States in multiple places. That adventure of figuring out where I wanted to be and why was a huge part of what makes my life interesting and what makes me me. So don't be afraid of that part of the journey either. It's okay if you don't have the answer right now, but if you want to if it's important to you, put on your board that you want to start or put some notes to the side that it's something that you want to start figuring out in the future. Now, as you can see, I could go really deep into this reflection because it is so much of an opportunity to really understand yourself. It's been doing the vision board was so much more than just manifesting this new life that I wanted. It's been an adventure in me getting to know myself deeper, who I want to be, how I want to show up, and where I want to show up. So as you're going through this reflection process, make sure you take some time to journal about those things too. It's really going to take your vision board to the next level. And it's going to take your adventure, your journey to the life that you want even better because you're going to think back to yourself, I know why I'm doing this. I've heard people say that they get to the climax of their dreams and they're like, gosh, this is not actually what I want. And it's because they weren't really clear from what they wanted from the beginning. But you're going to be clear on what you want because you're doing exercises like this. Okay. So I just gave you a whole bunch of details and mindset behind how I go through the reflection. I'm actually just going to finish going through the reflection. Okay. So Some of my goals were choosing a new city, which I chose Charlotte. I chose a location actually last year as well. My best friend and her family, which is my god family, they have a 12-acre property. We've already picked out a plot on the property, which makes me super excited. I've already picked out a builder that I'd like to work with. Um, so I've worked on all of those things. I worked on getting a loan for my tiny house. I even started figuring out how to do the utilities for my tiny house. I made more progress on my tiny house journey last year than I have in the whole 10 years of wanting a tiny house. And a huge part of that was, for one, not just deciding that I wanted a tiny house, but deciding where I was going to put it, because that does affect a lot of the decisions that you're going to make when you're buying a tiny house. So, a lot of progress there. So, some other goals that I have for last year, getting an RV pad and a water line trenched in the parking spot for the tiny house, finishing my income verification for the loan, having conversations with the city, the county, the state for parking approval, and working with True Farm Tiny Home on a custom build. So those are some of the things that I didn't accomplish last year. I still got quite a few things done. And as you can see, because I wrote down all of the things that I worked on and a couple of things that I didn't get to, I can see just how much progress I made. And that gives me a better opportunity, a deeper opportunity to be so grateful for just how much I've accomplished. Okay. So, all right. So then that was the core of my 2023 goals for the personal area. So goal number 4 that I had for last year was that I needed to get new glasses. I needed to get caught up on my periodontal exams at the dentist. I needed to get a plan for fixing my knee injury. I needed to get my blood pressure down, and I needed to lose 50 pounds. And ideally, I wanted a health coach. So, reflecting on the things that I did from that last year, I did get some new glasses and they're really cute. Actually, they're right here. Let me show you. I like them a lot. My best friend helped me pick them out. I got them from Warby Parker. So, there's that. Oop, they're a little dirty. I might wear them the rest of this, especially since. So, I need glasses for seeing far away, not for close up, which is why I don't usually wear them on camera. But that's okay. I'm gonna show off that I accomplished this goal. Okay, so I got new glasses. I did get caught up on my periodontal exams and a plan for fixing my knee injury. Now, this actually, I did accomplish this. I didn't check it off, but towards the end of the year, I met a mobility coach and he really helped me start doing some exercises and he helped me diagnose what exactly was wrong. Now, here's what I love about that so much. I went to multiple orthopedic doctors last year to get a plan for my knee injury, and multiple doctors told me that I need surgery until I met this mobility coach. And he said, that's actually not the problem. The problem is that your knee is overextended and we need to reinvert that. And your cast is really tight and overstretched, and we need to get that stretched out. He gave me just about 5 different exercises to do, and my knee went from constantly popping, grinding, feeling uncomfortable, to now I forget that I even had a knee injury. So, I say that to say, sometimes the best person to help you is not a doctor. There is a reason why there's so many coaches in the world, because they have figured out some of the less non-invasive ways to make just as much change, if not bigger changes that, doctors and therapists have been able to do. They're not so in a box about how you get it done because they've experienced different ways to accomplish the same results or even better results. So that's my little plug for, working with a coach on whatever it is that you have for whatever goal. I can assure you there are some amazing coaches out there that are really going to help you achieve each and every one of these goals and beyond. Okay. The same thing for getting my blood pressure down. So I went to a traditional medical doctor, specifically an internal medicine doctor, and she immediately put me on blood pressure medicine. And I told her that I did not want to continue to be on blood pressure medicine. I wanted to do some things to get my blood pressure down. And she started with the same spiel that every doctor says: you need to lose weight, cut out salt, and pretty much do a lot of lifestyle things that would make life suck. And then because it would make life suck, 9 times out of 10, you would not wanna continue to do it, and neither would I. So, I started working with a naturopath doctor. I told her that I was having some issues around my blood pressure, that I knew my cortisol levels were high, but I couldn't figure out how to get them down. I did that assessment with her, I wanna say in March. By July, I had dropped 30 pounds and I wasn't even doing hardcore workout. I literally just made the changes that she suggested to me and I feel better. I don't have heart palpitations anymore, which is amazing. I could tell that my stress levels are going down. My knee feels better, my body feels stronger, and now I feel like I can continue to do exercise and things, and it's actually going to help me. It wasn't that I wasn't working out, it wasn't that I wasn't watching what I was eating. I was doing all of those things, but none of it was working because my body wasn't in a healthy place to receive any of those things. But working with her, my blood pressure has gone down. I've lost 30 of that 50 pounds. I still actually think I'm gonna lose another 30. But man, it really jumpstarts everything. So I accomplished so many of these goals from last year, and a huge part of it was getting the help that I need because I don't wanna become a naturopath. I don't wanna have to go learn all of that for me to get the benefits of it. Instead, this is where I am happy to pay someone for help because they are going to be able to help me get to where I need to get a lot faster and a lot easier. So, I started working with Annie, I started working with, Allison, and then as getting a trainer, I started this program called the 30-Day Transformation, because when I looked at my goals, I saw these were the places that I wanted help with so that I could prioritize my energy on just showing up and doing the work rather than trying to figure out what work that I actually need to do. So then now coming down to my relational goals, because now remember I told you there's 8 different areas of your life. Can you remember what they are? They are your relational, your spiritual, physical, emotional, personal, professional, and purposeful parts of your life. Did I miss something? I think I got all 8. Hopefully I did. Okay. Oh, and financial. So yes, in the relational part of my life, I had a couple goals that I wanted to work on, specifically around dating. I am a single woman and I want to get married and maybe have kids. I'm not sure about having kids, but I definitely want somebody that I could be my life partner, continue to build my business with, to build my life with. And so, yes, trying to be intentional about doing that. Now, here's the thing. Every time I do coaching sessions with someone and they're like, well, there's nothing that I could do about finding a relationship. I kind of just have to let it happen. There is still very much a process of you being intentional about being your best self. You can be intentional about opening your heart to receive love, knowing how to give love. Those are all things that, depending on the relationships in our past and our childhood wounds, we might not be ready to actually be in a relationship. So there are things that we could do to prepare ourselves to be who we need to be to receive that relationship. So those were the kind of goals that I made for last year, or actually the year before that. In addition to last year, my big goal was that I actually spent some time putting myself out there. I work from home. I'm a digital nomad. I travel a lot. And while I do meet people, I think it's easier to meet people when I'm in one place for a good period of time. So last year was really good for me because I decided that I didn't want to do a lot of bopping around. I just wanted to work on getting settled here in Charlotte. So it was good for me to be intentional about putting myself out there to meet new guys, to find new places that I wanted to go to and get to know the city so that as I wanted to continue meeting people, that I had places that I could go and meet them, do dates and things like that. And so I did that last year. That was a big part of it for me. So I also had to do some mindset shifts about dating. Those are all different things that we can do to continue to, you know, be better in our relationships and the kind of goals that I had. So I felt really good about all of my relational goals from last year. I dated 3 people seriously. And while I am not still dating any of them seriously, I felt really good about the progress I made in myself and being able to put myself out there. really connect with people and not feel so bogged down by the process of the new way of dating in the 2020s, knowing that there's still time. I don't have to rush myself. I don't have to feel like my clock is ticking. There's time. And I want to use that time to enjoy the dating process and enjoy getting to know someone that might potentially be my life partner. So that's how my relational goals went for last year. Okay. So my last area of goals for last year was around my business, so my professional goals and what kind of things that did I want to accomplish in my business to get me to the next level that I wanted to accomplish. And so a huge part for me has been revamping my messaging and helping myself to get more connected to the people that I know are like me because it's the workaholics, it's the strong Black women, it's the corporate professionals, it's the entrepreneurs. Have played every single one of those roles. And in each and every one of those roles, I found that I had so much pressure and so much burnout that I've gone through this ups and downs of finding my way into a work less, live more lifestyle, but then also sometimes being pulled back into being a workaholic. So I've come to understand from my own journey that creating that work less, live more lifestyle is not as easy as we would like to think it would be. The idea of just working less and living more, I wish it was as easy said or as easy done as it is said. It's way easier said than done. And so I've been on this journey of figuring out what are the things that made it easier for me, what's allowed me to come into this work less, live more lifestyle, and how have I been able to maintain it and really revolving my coaching program around that. Now, my coaching program has always been around vision. From when I started back in 2019, my business has always been around vision because I have always been passionate about it because I've seen it as the core to deciding where I wanted to take my life. I illustrate it as if you open up that GPS, but you don't put a destination in it, then you're just seeing a little blue dot move around on the map. It has no real destination, it has no real intention, and therefore you can end up anywhere on that map. And that was what was happening. I did amazing and great things when life just happened to me, but I've had way better things happen in my life. I've actually built the life that I wanted when I put a destination in that GPS. And I'm using that illustration of a GPS as my life. When I put a destination in my life and decided this is what I want my life to look like, I've been so much better at creating that life rather than hoping that life just finds me. That's waiting for happenstance to happen. And I could not spend any more time allowing my life to be just a throw on pal. It needed to be what I wanted to create it to be. And vision has been the key that's allowed me to do that. And so creating a vision and then using my goals and life systems to help me build that has been the key to helping me build the life that I want. And so the goals for my business last year were around getting better at communicating why I started this business, how it's changed my life, and how doing coaching with me is going to help others, specifically the workaholics, the corporate professionals, the entrepreneurs, the strong Black women, especially how I can help take this workaholic lifestyle that you have right now and create it into the life that we want. Because the reality is, and when someone asks us what we wanted to be when we grew up, we didn't say, "Oh, I wanted to be a workaholic." We didn't say, "Oh, I want to work for the rest of my life." Not even close. Instead, we became workaholics because we felt that was the only way to get to the life that we wanted. But now I'm telling you, that's not the way. Actually, that equation says work plus work equals freedom, but it doesn't. That's not how it works. Work plus work does not equal freedom. Actually, work plus living your life and figuring out how to balance the two or to have harmony between your work and your life is what creates the freedom. And I help people do that, create that harmony in my business. So my goals last year were about being able to better articulate that to my ideal clients or to my target audience. So with that, my first goal was to revamp my website. That was a huge thing and it was a lot of work and a lot of fun. So my website moved from Squarespace to Get Response. I love what it does now. It's connected to my email provider. And it's been better for me to get you guys great resources like the webinars, the worksheets to do things like Freedom Fridays than I've ever been able to do before. I got all of my social media bios updated and I got a lot more clear on how I communicate. What is the big transformation? What's the big thing that you're going to get from working with me? And that ultimate goal that I want to help you get is to create this lifestyle freedom that allows you to work, but work becomes the tool so that you could truly live your life and do all of the amazing things that you want to do. So then the other thing was getting my sales funnel in place so that I could nurture my relationship with you. I want to get to know you. I want to get to know where you are now. I want to celebrate you on your progress. I want to celebrate where you're going. And I want to get excited about your dreams. There are so many people who are not able to really support you on your dreams, but that's not who I am. I am so passionate about being the person that's not just cheering you on, but giving you resources, giving you tools, connecting you with people to help you accomplish those things because I believe in you. And my deepest why is that I believe that when you live your best life, when I live my best life, we're all like a bunch of puzzle pieces on a massive grand puzzle. And when each of us lives those things, that means the picture that's on that puzzle piece comes alive. And when you put all of those puzzle pieces together, that's what creates the world where the world is a better place. Okay. I believe when you live your best life, it helps the world become a better place. And I get to help you live your best life and therefore help this world become a better place. That's what gets me excited. And then getting my webinars, I've gotten all of those. Like I said, I've got so many great free resources and paid resources that are going to help you through this transformation. And so I get really excited about being able to share all of those with you. So I was able to accomplish all of those goals as well. So as you can see, I had quite a few goals on here and I have a lot of different details about each of those things. I made sure that I wrote out my reflection on each one of those things. This is a good thing where you can get your vision board out, get your journal out, get you a nice comfy chair that's next to a view, get your favorite drink and journal out how much progress you've made in each one of those days. And then make sure you stop and celebrate everything that you've accomplished. That's huge. That's huge. Again, so many times we think that we haven't done enough, but look how much we've done. Rather than beating up yourself for not being to the destination, appreciate yourself for being further along on the adventure, for being further along on the journey. It's worth it. Get excited about that because that is what's going to keep you motivated to keep moving forward. If you created a vision board and created goals for last year, that is the core of this exercise for you. But you may be the person who didn't create goals for last year, and that's okay. There's no judgment in that. You can do it this year. And if you didn't create goals from last year, you can still do the reflection. So let me walk you through how you're going to do that. You're still going to get that same comfy chair. You're still going to get that, great drink and your journal and a pen and paper. And I still want you to take some time to journal, but here's how you're going to do it. I want you to pause and I want you to think about January. If you need to, go ahead and pull out a calendar. Think about what things happened last January, the good, bad, and the in between. Write a little bit about the things that happened. You should also have your vision map from the last video. So the things that happened in January, the good, bad, and the ugly. Here's what I'm grateful for in that time. Here's some things that I want to get better at doing or that I want to do for next year to keep me moving towards my goals. And then how much did it help you accomplish the things that were in your 10-year vision map? Just so that you can reflect on how these two connect to each other. And after you do that for January, I want you to do that same thought process for each of the 12 months. Now, don't go crazy and trying to think about each month for 50 minutes. I want you to put a timer on and give yourself just 5 minutes to think about each of these months. That means you're just going to use just 1 hour doing this exercise. Don't go crazy because if you think it's more than that, then you're not going to want to do it. If you want to, only give yourself a minute for each month. Okay. But I think 5 minutes is a good happy medium. So you're going to sit down for 5 minutes. You're going to think about that month, think about the progress that you've made in it, celebrate your wins, think about how it connects back to that 10-year vision. And then once you journal all of that out, that's going to give you all the preface, all the reflection that you need to have. So by the time you finish that exercise, you will have reviewed all 12 months for 2023. When we create your next goals in 2024, you are set up to be better in 2024. If you're doing this reflection exercise and you don't have your 10-year vision map, make sure you go back to the video right before this. I'll put a card up here in the corner so that you can go ahead and use the last video, step 1, that's going to show you how to create your 10-year vision map. So let's recap. So in the intro video, I shared the tips that ensure that your vision board really works. Because sometimes you make a vision board and you get to the end of the year and you actually have not made much progress. But that video is going to give you the tips, the mindset, and the common mistakes. Then in the next video, Vision Board with Me, step number 1, we reviewed and evolved your life plan. I walked you through how to create your 10-year vision map. And I also walked you through how I review my 10-year life plan and evolve it so that it's always up to date. Then in this video together, we review your 2023 goals. We talked about how taking time to review your last year's goals before creating these goals is important because it helps you see your progress, which means that you get to be grateful for how much progress that you've made, and that motivates you to keep moving forward. It helps you create the intentionality in how you move forward, and it helps you connect the dots so that you can learn from your mistakes and do better in the future. And then I showed you how I reviewed my 2023 goals and how you can review your 2023 goals even if you actually didn't write them down this year. So then in this next video, what we're going to do is we are going to create your 2024 goals together. And that gets me crazy, crazy excited. As I said, I know you thought that creating a vision board was just about getting out a board and putting pretty pictures on the paper. But as you can see, there's quite a few more steps to it. And these are the things that are really going to make your vision board work. And so I hope this has been helpful to you. And I would love you to continue going on this series with me. So make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and share your progress. How many of these steps have you accomplished? Tell me in the comments. I would love to support you and get excited about your dreams. So make sure you get notified when the next video is released by turning on notifications. And thanks for watching today. I'm such a nerd. I have a hard time not giving you all the things. And you see, I love to give it all to you.